How do you see yourself? Today, I want to talk about how our attitudes and beliefs about who we think we are and what all we think we're capable of shapes our day-to-day experiences and ultimately alters the course of our lives. Our perception is our reality. We are what we think. So let's talk about how this plays out. But first, a quick definition of self-conception. Self-conception is an all-encompassing awareness we have of our past self, our present self, and the expectation we have for ourselves in the future. And they're all interconnected. In order for us to try to make sense of this crazy world and how we fit into it, for better or for worse, our past informs our perception of ourselves in the present and into the future. I'd like to share a personal anecdote with you all. I had the pleasure of playing college soccer. Every year we had to run a mile in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. That was our fitness test that we had to pass in order to be able to play in the games. As a senior, as a captain, I did not make that mile time, and it ultimately led to my early departure from the team. I was devastated for a very long time because my team and the sport of soccer meant everything to me. I felt such guilt for letting my teammates and coaches down in the way that I did. And I carried that guilt, that shame around with me like a scarlet letter for many years. I thought of myself as a failure, and for some time I really lived into that narrative, and unsurprisingly my body reflected that. I had a very negative relationship with my body. I spoke unkindly towards myself. I behaved unkindly towards myself. And eventually, after some time, I realized that so much of my pent-up emotion related back to this shameful experience I had. And so I did the work. I started running again because I wanted to prove myself wrong. Now, since college, I've run 3 half marathons, and I don't say that boastfully because, to be honest, the first 2 were pretty rough experiences. I did not enjoy myself. I was sick to my stomach before, during, and after. And to be honest, my results reflected that. I did terribly. Now, mind you, this last time around, my training did not change. The only difference this time around, I did a lot of mindset work leading up to the event. So I had a mantra, and that was, I am on the precipice of greatness. And I kept repeating that to myself all 13.1 miles. I just kept telling myself that there was no pressure. Just do the best that you can do, and that will always be good enough. I ran my fastest race time ever. That's how powerful the mind is. So now I want to talk about you. Who do you think you are? What do you think you're capable of? Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. If you think this quarantine is going to set you back on your health journey, you're right. If, on the other hand, you think this quarantine is the perfect opportunity to get into the best shape of your life, you're also right, and you'll do just that. Our thoughts precede our actions. As the saying goes, the body achieves what the mind believes. So how do we improve our self-concept? How do we overcome our limiting beliefs in order to be the very best version of ourselves? We have to train the mind. Start with visualization. Imagine yourself today as your ideal version of self. Ask yourself the following questions. What do you do for work? What do you do for fun? Who do you hang out with? What do you look like? How do you feel? Dream it, see it, believe it. My second recommendation is to practice positive self-talk by coming up with your own personal affirmation, something that feeds your confidence that you can always come back to. Some examples may include, I can do hard things, I am worthy, I am beautiful, I am good enough. Remember, your only limit is your mind. When you start to think about yourself differently, you behave differently, and before you know it, your life takes on a whole new meaning. Change your mind, change your life. That's the power of positive psychology.